Hi, today we're looking at Noodle, which is a number-based logic puzzle. It does require a little bit of arithmetic. It has some similarities in some ways with number cross. There's not quite so much math involved in this, so don't worry if you don't like adding up. There's only a little bit necessary. So as usual, we're starting with a one-style level 1 puzzle just to get to grips with the rules and see how we solve these puzzles. This one is from Puzzle Weekly presents Noodle. There's a link in the description if you want to get that copy yourself and play along or try some harder ones. There's some much harder ones. We'll have a look at one later on in the video. So this is what a noodle grid looks like. What's the objective? Well, we've got two sets of numbers. We can break these numbers down into the top and left-hand side here, and then the right-hand side and the bottom numbers. Now, we'll look at these top and left numbers first. These numbers tell you how many digits you need to place in each row or column. So all of these columns here require 1 digit each. It's a very simple puzzle. And all of these rows, apart from this one, require either 2 or more 1 digit. So this row, we need to put 2 digits in here somewhere. Those are the counts then. And on the right-hand side and along the bottom, these numbers tell you the sums of the rows and columns. So if we look at this row here with the 2 and the 8, the 2 is saying we need 2 digits in this row, and the 8 is telling us that those 2 digits must add up to a total of 8. And the same here, we need 1 digit in this column, and that digit must add up to 9. So obviously the digit is a 9 somewhere. There's one other rule that we need to be aware of, and that is that as we place the digits in the cells, you cannot have 2 digits that touch either diagonally or horizontally or vertically. So if we put a digit in this cell, for example, then we cannot have digits in any of these cells around it. That's the only other rule we need to worry about. So with that said, let's go ahead and look at solving this puzzle. Well, the first thing we can do is eliminate all the cells in the 0 row, can't we? Because there's 0 digits that add up to 0. So this row it cannot have any digits in. So I'm just going to go through and strike through each of those because elimination, as is so often the case, is an important strategy in solving Noodle puzzles. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is look at intersecting numbers and see where placing a digit would bust a row or column. And what I mean by that is if we looked at this column here to start with, and we're starting with left and working across, we know we need to place 1 digit and it needs to add up to 8. So basically we need to place an 8 in this column. We can eliminate certain cells by looking at the crossing rows like this. So if we were to place an 8 in here, we know that this row must add up to 8. But we also know that we need 2 digits in this row. So if we placed an 8 in here, we would have nowhere else to place another digit. In other words, we cannot place our 8 in here. So we can strike through that. And we've got the same thing going on here. Well, actually, we could place an 8 in here, couldn't we? Because this one, we need 1 digit. It's an 8. So this is a potential cell for that. So we'll leave that one. But on this row, we cannot place an 8 in this cell because this row can only add up to 4. 8 is bigger than 4, so we would be busting the row if we were to place our 8 for this column in the intersecting cell. So we can eliminate that. And by the same measure, we can eliminate the bottom row because we need 1 digit that adds up to 3. So if we were to put our 8 in here, we'd be busting this row. So our 8 for this column cannot go in this row. So we can eliminate that. So we've already eliminated a fair few cells and reduced our options to just 2 cells where we could possibly place the 8. So now we'll come across this way and we'll look at the next row. This one we're looking to place a 3. Well, we can't eliminate anything here because putting a 3 in here would not dust this 8. 3 in here would not dust this one either, or this one, or this one. And even down here, we could put a 3 in here, and because we're only looking to put 1 3 in this row, it would not bust that row either. So we can't eliminate anything there yet. We'll look at this one. We can eliminate the 3. If we look at this column, again, it's another 3, so we can't eliminate anything there. This one is looking promising, isn't it? We need to put a 9 in here, so we can eliminate the 8, the 4, and the 3. Only this cell It's the only one where we can place a 9. We will place the 9 in there, but we'll come back and do that in a minute because I just want to finish eliminating other cells first. So we'll do the last column along here. We're looking to place a 5, so we can eliminate any number that is less than 5. So that's the 4 and the 3. Now we will put this 9 in, as I say, but before that, we're going to do the same thing we just did along here, but this time we're going to go down here. So we're going to look at just the ones because they're the easy ones to do. Here we need to place an 8 somewhere in this row. We can look at the totals for the columns, and anything that's less than 8, we know we can eliminate. So the first cell is a possible keeper. The second cell in this column, in this intersection here, well, this has to add up to 3, which is way less than 8. So we know we can eliminate that. And the 4 and the 3 and the 5. Do the same thing along here. I'm looking for 4. So we can eliminate the 3 and this 3. And the last one along here, we have 9. So we can eliminate almost everything, can't we? And the bottom row is already taken care of. So those are our primary eliminations, the first set of eliminations. And we know we can fill in this cell because we've eliminated all the other cells in this row and all the other cells in this column. So this has to be our 9. And I'm just going to strike through the numbers there and there. So it's easy to see that we have completed this column and we've completed this row. And we've got another one over here, and this was the only place we can put that 8. So we can write that in as well and strike through there and there. And we've got a single cell here. Now this doesn't answer this row, but we can fit in the cell as a column. We know it has to be a 5. It's the only cell remaining. So we write our 5 in here, which means that is complete. And that gives us more information for this row because we know that we need the row to add up to 8. And we already have 5, so somewhere we need to place a 3. Well, the 3 could go in any of these cells, couldn't it, at the moment? Except it can't go in this one because we have a diagonal of adjacent cell here. So we can eliminate this cell. So we'll put a strike through that. Now we've got the cell here that we can put our 4 into, which takes care of that row. And down here we've got a cell that we can put our 3 into, which will take care of this column. And putting the 3 in here also takes care of this 3 in this row. So we can eliminate this cell, although we already knew that because we have a 9 here and we can't have 2 numbers adjacent. So we can eliminate that cell. And I just realised we could also eliminate this one up here because we've completed this column with this 4, haven't we? So that's done. And let's just lose this column here with the 3. And obviously that has to go in here. So that's it. We've completed the puzzle. We've filled in, I can cross those out just for completeness, but we've filled in all of our sum totals for the rows and columns. And none of our numbers are touching either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. They are all independent. So we have met all of the rules. Now, obviously, that was an extremely simple 1-star puzzle. They get much harder. Here's an example of a 7-star level 7 puzzle. This is number 117 from the same book. And you can see that the column and row totals are considerably higher, obviously. And we have some clue numbers in the grid to help us along. Also, we have missing clue numbers on the outside just to make things a little more difficult. And obviously the grid is much larger. So if you're up for a challenge, as I say, that's 117, that's a level 7 puzzle. There are 20 of those in the book and 20 of each other level. Apart from levels 1 and 2, you get 10 each of those in that book, just to ease you in gently. Good puzzle, little bit of maths, just enough to keep the braid to get over. And if you want to have a go for free, then there's a taster pack we've put together with 2 simple puzzles like this and a couple of slightly harder ones as well. There's a link in the description to download that for free.
Hello, I'm Auntie. Don't forget you can get our Puzzle Weekly magazine delivered to you every Monday completely free. Visit the link to get your copy.